Hey, welcome back to the Cantina Club. This is 2024 now, and we're going to look at everything coming out this year on as far as Disney Plus is concerned, Star Wars, and kind of what we're expecting and what we're looking forward to and what we're dreading, maybe. Uh, so for starters, basically what it looks like is we've got very similar to last year, two animated series and two live action series to look forward to in 2024. So, one of those shows being Skeleton Crew, which is originally going to be, I think, at the very end of 2023, but has now been pushed back because of the writer's strike, the actor strike, and all that to 2024. I'm not sure when in 2024, but it was listed on Disney's list that they came out with recently of what's coming up in 2024. So, Gundark, why don't you start us off with your thoughts on Skeleton Crew? What do you know
I
about
don't
it? What do
even
you,
know what it is.
okay. Stars Jude
That's-
Law. It's been described as Goonies in space.
oh
So
no.
basically, it's
Okay.
like there's a group of
Jude
kids.
Law, thumbs up. Goonies of space, way.
Thumbs down. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I
Oh,
just
I
can't
don't
wait. I
know.
just can't wait for Jude Law to be cast in the next HBO adaptation of a video game. Right when the series starts to take off, and then they have to put his personality in a robot or something, so that he can film both simultaneously. Thank you, Jude Law. I've already hate you in advance.
What more do we know about it other than Goonies in outer space?
That is honestly about it. They've shown us nothing. They've come up with nothing. There's
Is it
really
Padawans or what is
I
it?
don't even know that.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of
Hmm.
assuming they are, but I don't even know like what time frame.
I
Although I think it does take place in the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
I do think it takes place at the same time as Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all that.
After seeing Ahsoka, I think we can assume that they're zombies. Probably the crew is zombies. Skeleton crew.
That must be it.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
I don't know. This
And
smacks of Care Bear Padawans, like the baby Jedi cartoon or whatever that is that's out now as a Care
evidently,
Bear.
evidently, some deal was struck to make Favreau and everybody say they're excited about it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
It's like I'm excited about it because I got to do my other show that I really wanted to do.
Well,
And I
right.
who labeled it
signed off on
Goonies?
this.
I mean, where are you getting this?
It's just stuff I
Where
heard.
are
And
you getting
where
this?
are you getting this, Corinne? You're
Traitor!
lying. You are a
Traitor, you
traitor.
liar!
You are a traitor.
I
And
mean,
now, traitor, we will discuss the source
Your
of your
Goonies in
information.
space.
where did you smuggle this
I don't remember.
questionable
It was like
information
a year and
from?
a half ago that I heard it referred to. I think it was in one of those promo things they do at like D23 or something like
talk,
that, where they come out like
talk about
Skeleton Crew.
blasting the
Basically, it's
Barrett.
like Goonies in space, or Goonies in Star Wars or something like that. So, like, okay, but they really haven't
That's the
told us anything.
messenger.
Kill the messenger.
Show him the way out. Oh, you mean the airlock? Yes.
So if we don't like Skeleton Crew, it is my fault because
Yes. Because I thought you said Skeletor crew. And so I thought it
right,
was going to be
much better.
some kind of He-Man spinoff.
He-Man, yeah,
Hey
Masters
man.
of the Universe.
Which believe me, I'm not that excited about it. But at least it had Mark Hamill in it. So I have that to look forward to.
All right,
Why
so
not?
really
Why
don't.
not? Why not cast Mark Hamill as the captain instead of Jude Law or whatever? That would have been cool. Just have him play a different character.
Yeah. And he's played other
No,
characters in Star
Traitor
Wars.
says no. Sacrilege.
No, that would
He
never
can
work.
play Luke.
Yeah, with three U's.
Yeah.
Luke.
We totally fail to acknowledge the expanded universe, but we take every single idea from there.
Exactly. All right, I don't think there's really much else to be said about Skeleton Crew, considering we just don't have any
Yeah.
information.
No. It's
Uh,
like echoing emptiness in my brain, more
so
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 than normal.
oh, me too, trust me. And and I I guess we can throw in the poll, a quick poll discussion, because I did put a poll up a couple of weeks ago, right around when the calendar ticked over to 2024, about what show are you most looking forward to. And Skeleton Crew was way in last place.
Yeah,
It really seems like there's no buzz at all about this show,
it's gonna need
so
a fantastic trailer to
yeah,
set it apart,
to
I think.
really get some interest going. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't checked it lately, but I think it was at like 3% of like
It's
150
like
votes that we got.
in space, no one cares that you're bored.
Right. All right, so switching gears to animation, we've got Bad Batch season 3, which is supposedly also the final season. Uh, and I know in our 2023 wrap up, we talked about, that ultimately we were rather disappointed in season 2 compared to season 1. I'm just hoping that they rebound in season 3 and give us something worthwhile, with maybe fewer filler episodes and more meat, to actually finish up the story. So yeah, I definitely hope, if they, especially if they go back to the same format they did season 1 and 2, where they have 16 episodes. That's a lot these days. I mean, I know back, when we grew up, 16 episodes was a tiny little season,
Mhm.
because everything network was 20 plus.
Yeah.
But anyway, in this day and age, 16 episodes is a lot.
Mhm.
Hopefully that doesn't just mean that, like season 2, we just get a lot of filler and 3 or 4 episodes of, crucial,
Mm.
storyline. So what are you
As long
guys
as
thinking
they
about season 3?
as long as they resolve the female Bosk storyline, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I know. Your
My
favorite
favorite
character,
character.
Sid,
Yeah.
Sid is your favorite
Sid, yeah,
character,
Sid, yeah.
Sid,
El
Sid.
Cid. It's like just put her
El
under a
Sid.
just put her under a heat lamp. She'll be fine. She'll chill right out.
Put her under a heat
Um,
lamp. That's why she's
feed
cranky.
her
She's
some
cold.
grubs. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Uh,
little on the nose to cast, the traitor is actually literally cold-blooded.
yeah.
But I am interested in seeing where all the people from New Zealand in space end up, I guess, and will they find their own island, which they already did, kind of. But
Yeah, they did actually.
I will say I did like the weird scientist guy at the end of season 2.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, same
cool.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing strikes
Yeah.
fear in people like just weird scientists.
What
So,
what are your hopes and fears, Gundark, about this show?
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it, although I'm not like super excited, just like we were saying in the overview of last year that, if it were not to have another season, we would be like, we wouldn't be crushed.
no,
Yeah.
just do a
But
movie. Just
yeah,
resolve it in a movie
yeah,
would be
yeah,
perfect. 2 hour
yeah,
movie.
yeah. But if it is going to have 16 episodes, it better have more substance than this last season did. So, yeah, just
I
get
want
rid of
to.
the jettison the filler.
I'm looking
Make it
forward to a
more
drinking
interesting.
game we're going to invent where every time they stun blast a clone, these badass mercenary, wild bunch characters with knives and explosives. Every time they stun blast a clone, I want to take a shot and see how invested I am by the end. But,
All
but
right.
yeah,
So sticking with animation, also expected in 2024 is Tales of the Jedi season 2. I
yes,
really
Okay, I'm
enjoyed
psyched for that. Yeah.
really psyched for that too.
yes,
Yeah, because I really enjoyed
yes,
season 1. Obviously, for me, it's
good.
just more. It's like more Clone Wars, like unreleased, Clone Wars
Uh,
stuff
give us more
material.
evil. Give us more evil. I love the evil perspective,
Yeah,
especially when they don't go all hysterical on it and they make it like a normal story just from the evil
yeah.
point of view. I just love that stuff because we never
Hmm.
got to see that. And um, instead of overemphasizing the comic book monstrous side of the evil characters, when they give us that Dooku thoughtful
Hmm.
Yeah.
kind of study on why he went down the path he did, um, it's still not enough to totally justify the character, but it was a ton of insight.
Hmm.
And I also love the Ahsoka episode, although I feel like she's overexposed. I don't really care about it. I mean I do care, but I could do with more stories about other characters than her again.
Greedo has
But it
Ahsoka
was
fatigue.
well done. Yeah, I mean,
No, I get
whatever.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand there's a story there where she becomes Fulcrum and helps the rebel, launch the Rebel Alliance and all that. But there's a lot of stuff that's just cooler when the epic implications are there than when you see it played out in front of you. Much
Yeah.
like the end of Rebels really grabbed people's imagination with like, where is this going? What does all this
Mhm.
mean? Whereas when you show it, it's more boring.
Yeah.
It's the pacing is off and it's just a little more boring. But
Right.
look, Ahsoka the Grey. I wonder what happened. Well, she fell off a cliff into an ocean. Okay, all right. I guess we could have just imagined that. But
She fought the Balrog and came back as
but
Ahsoka the
no,
White.
I want to say Tales of the Jedi is one of my favorite things they've done recently, and so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to more of that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
that
too.
should be good. All right. So wrapping up with the other live action show, speaking of an evil point of view, we've got The Acolyte. I'm much, touted for years now. We're finally going to get that this at some point this year. Hopefully it lives up to the hype.
Does it actually exist?
But the unique aspect is the fact that it's the first Star Wars story technically that'll be told from a Sith point of view. So what are we looking forward to on that?
I really look forward to that. About as much as Tales of the Jedi, although I suspect it might be a major disappointment. So, for the exact reasons that Greedo was saying about what was good about the last Tales of the Jedi, when you get the perspective of characters like Count Dooku, that gives real substance to the Sith characters. We've been wanting that for ages, and I hope that this will go there and not be cartoonish and silly. And I hope it will be a character that has kind of the substance and gravitas of Balin in Ahsoka,
Mhm.
the fallen Jedi in Ahsoka. I want to see more of that type of character. But
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope. I have a lot of desire, but I don't have a lot of hope. So I
Not a
don't
lot of
know.
hope or trust. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same position. This was one of the number one things I was looking forward to when it was announced, just from the logo
Yeah.
alone,
Yeah.
and the idea of an acolyte, an evil acolyte, or whatever.
Mm,
Just that idea of anything told from the dark side perspective. But the more I've heard about it, the less sort of exciting it seems to me.
yeah.
I'm not super intrigued with that period. I know a lot of people want to see Old Republic, High Republic, but really, I mean, it's kind of explained already. And I know there's years and years of history and all kinds of things could happen, but we know where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
It's, and so I don't know that there's conflicts big enough in that period of history for me to get all that invested in. But if it's character drama
Mhm.
and driven by individuals and their choices and stuff, then of course that can be very intriguing.
That will be the key. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Andor. We knew where it was going to end up,
Mhm.
from the very
But there was a
beginning.
major, but there was a major conflict going on then. There was something
Yeah,
for characters to push against.
yeah.
The Republic, I feel like in my mind, is idealized as a settled kind of thing. And I know Jedi go around probably righting wrongs and warlords and people who are taking advantage.
Yeah.
But I tend to think of the prequels and things that came before it as, tax resolutions or whatever,
Yeah.
blockades over
Taxation
tax
of trade
routes. Yeah.
routes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just they got to have endless meetings about it before there's any action. And so I hope I'm hopeful for it. But the interviews and things I saw at Celebration didn't seem like it's maybe made for a different audience than me.
Mhm.
Is was the implication I got, but I'm going in with an open mind. Um, so
Okay. Yeah,
just
that's
please have a
fair.
good story. Just
Same
have a
here.
good story,
Yep.
good characters. It's a great setting, guys. Come on, Star
Absolutely.
Wars
I
is a
hope they
great
don't
setting.
squander this chance to tell a
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
unique
yeah,
story within the Star Wars universe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
more I heard, it's supposed to be like an investigation, like a detective is
Oh,
investigating and has an assistant.
I didn't know that. I kind of like
No,
that
I haven't heard
idea.
that either. Interesting.
That could be good or it could be deadly
A
dull.
major miss, yeah.
Yeah, because it's hard to you're going to have to define a lot of things that have remained ambiguous in the Star Wars universe when you're doing an investigation, kind of like when Qui-Gon starts testing people's blood and stuff,
Mhm.
you're going into things you didn't expect, and like what kind of technology do they have? There's so much that's contradictory, if you're trying to solve a crime, why don't you use you know what I mean? There's a lot
Yeah.
of pitfalls you could go into there. So I just hope it's good. And I just want to see characters doing a cohesive story, making choices that make sense for them, and staying true to their characters, and a story that I can dig into each episode that makes sense,
Yeah.
from one story point to another. Let's start there, and then hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so a couple of things that got pushed from originally they were going to be released in 2024 are now pushed to 2025. One of those being Andor season 2 is originally
Yeah.
going to be set for an August release this year, but it got pushed back to 2025. So hopefully, that'll be worth the wait. Hopefully, we'll have something to look forward to there. And I'm trying to remember what the other one. I know there was a
The
second
Andor
one.
one was my big disappointment for 2024, except that I also don't want them to rush it and put out something that's subpar. So I'm hoping that if they're extending it, I hope that doesn't mean that there's like excessive problems they're trying to correct.
Right.
No, but I hope it means that we end up with a better final product. But I'm still
Yeah.
real disappointed that we're having to wait that long. So
I can't
Right.
wait for the movie where Alan Tudyk and Pedro Pascal go on a submersible to the Titanic wreckage. The two guys who just don't have time to do Star Wars, I don't know, man. I got stuff to do,
All
I
right,
mean,
I got stuff going on.
on Comedy Central, I have this alien series where I play this comedic alien, kind of like Orc from Mork or whatever. And I just don't know if I can. I just don't know if I can stop doing that long enough to do Star Wars.
Exactly. The other thing, at least this is not a Disney Plus show. This is technically the next movie is supposed to go into production in 2024. It's set for I think sometime in 2025 release, and that's the movie about Rey. My excitement level for that movie, it must be said, I'm just going to be honest here. If I can go into negative numbers, I would.
Wow.
Oh,
I want it to be good. I'm not saying I don't want it to be good,
you're
but
just not expecting it.
That is correct.
You're
my
expecting it to be
expectations are
bad.
so far below zero.
But if they announce John Boyega's joined up, so we're gonna get the woo. Or you gonna
Yeah, well,
that-
that'll definitely bring
that's
it back
gonna
up.
hype you more, right? Yeah, woo, you
Woo!
can't. You gotta get hyped for that.
Yeah.
The movie will begin with that going down on the planet slowly, panning down on the planet. You hear in the distance, right,
Right.
right.
Woo!
Oh, the sequel trilogy just left such a bad taste in my mouth by the end of it that
Yeah,
Well,
it's
you weren't
sad
supposed to
because
hate
I was
it.
so psyched with Force Awakens and I loved the Rey character. I love Rey and Finn together, and then
And then
it
it just
seemed
went off
like
the
the
rails
trilogy
completely.
just tanked, and
Yeah.
so now don't have I don't have any trust, I
Yeah.
guess, any faith that they'll produce anything better. The one that I was looking forward to that got canceled was the Patty Jenkins, the one about Rogue Squadron.
Rogue
Yeah,
Squadron,
that
yeah.
was
I
the
was
one
looking
I
forward to
really
that too.
wanted.
That
Yeah.
would have been really good.
I wasn't
much
until I
more
saw
excited
Wonder
about
Woman
that.
1984.
Well,
I
yeah.
hadn't seen the second
And that's
Wonder Woman,
awful.
so
That's
oh well.
so bad. Yeah.
Another
Oh, well.
Pascal project that was more important than Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah, what I want to say about that Ray movie is I'm gonna withhold judgment. It's very, very difficult for me because the whole sequel timeline from 2017 on has been pretty much ruined for me. I felt sick as a dog coming out of that movie, and most of the people around me were fine. It did not impact them at all for some reason. I still feel weird about that. Like I've never felt so isolated as a Star Wars fan when everybody was praising this thing, and I thought it's over. When the credits rolled, I was like, that's it. I don't want to see anymore.
But it took a while. I think it took a long time for people to really digest it and feel how wrong a lot of it was.
Yeah,
I've
that's what it
known
was for
many
me. Yeah.
people who came
I
out
think
liking
people,
it and ended up really not going from really enjoying it to starting to deeply question it to get to the point where,
yeah,
well, golly, that was awful.
you're right.
Like,
It was complex. You had to think about it and see it
yeah,
maybe twice or whatever. We saw it twice in 24 hours, which was
Yeah,
too
I did
much
too.
for me.
Yeah,
But
I
we had
did
already
too.
bought the tickets and we'd already made the road trip to see it in what's that called? The big format.
the
Um
IMAX.
IMAX,
IMAX, yeah.
which was the best thing about it. But anyway, yeah. No, it was a beautiful movie. And all the art and everything around it was beautiful, but the core of it, I maintain it was a horrible, horrible decision. For every single story in that movie is anti-Star Wars, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
anti the spirit of Star Wars. Someday I'll make a video about it explaining what I mean by that. But it was a big swing. But I left that as a lifelong Star Wars fan feeling like it's over. I just not interested and seeing what they do next. And I still kind of feel that way. The Mandalorian reinvigorated me for things that don't feel like The Last Jedi. Yeah, Mandalorian doesn't feel like The Last Jedi at all.
Not
It's
at all.
different.
No. That seems
So
rooted in the
yeah,
original
it
trilogy style.
reignited for me the idea that okay, Star Wars isn't just the Skywalker saga. We can do other things and I can love it, and it so I'm very, very grateful for that. And and it's not necessarily their fault I feel this way. It's on me. I just wasn't. I expected more of it to be for me than
Yeah.
the very, very little I was given. I felt like,
Hmm.
and but anyway, from 2017 to what's it going to be? 2025? You said the movie's coming out.
The next movie will be 20. I think it's like May of 25. The next three are scheduled for May 25, Christmas 25, and then Christmas 26.
What
So
are
the
the
next three
others going to
films.
be?
One, I believe, is the Kevin Feige film, and one should be Dave Filoni.
Okay, what is the Kevin Feige film?
I'm not completely sure about. I'm not sure.
Because it sounds more like his would be the one that would be a universe, like a crossover between a
Hmm.
bunch of the shows and stuff. But isn't
Yeah,
that supposed to be the Dave Filoni
that's
movie?
Filoni. Yeah,
Okay. Hmm.
I bet if Feige will do something from the High Republic or something
yeah,
with a
probably.
bunch of hero and villain
The Old
characters.
Republic or
Well,
the High
yeah,
Republic,
High Republic
the
is
ancient
where the
Either
Republic
timeline.
or.
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
There was also was his the one that they talked about doing the origin
You
of
mean
the
the one that
Jedi, or
was
was it the
that
one that was canceled?
the
That
guys
was
from Game of
canceled.
That was
Thrones were supposed
canceled.
to the guys from Game of Thrones were supposed to be
No, it was Man. It was the guy who did Logan.
oh
Um,
yeah, okay.
his movie. I think he was
Mango. Yeah,
Mangold. Yeah,
yeah.
I
Mangold,
think
that's right. Yeah.
he was supposed to do a movie exploring the origins of the Force and the Jedi connection to the Force, but I think it got canceled.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was 2017 to 2025. I think that movie, the Rey movie, is going to tell us where we're at
Hmm.
with the Star Wars property. Um, I can't see anything bigger than that coming that could resurrect this or show us that it's an abject, that the damage is not getting undone for a while.
Yeah.
If you want to, if you even believe there is damage, because a lot of people point to the box office from those three movies and say everything's fine. I don't believe
Yeah.
that, but but anyway, but I'm hoping for the best. I don't have anything against those characters. I feel like the writing for the characters was bad, and if you fix that, there's obviously tons of great things you could do. So I'm not going to hold a grudge. I'm going to try not to. It is a little bittersweet. I think I brought this up before, that the plot seems to be about a Jedi Academy and a Jedi Master, and you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't go into
Yeah.
what we were
Exactly.
what was taken away from us already
Hmm.
concerning
Yeah.
those things. But but and even I know they won't do it, but they could even have Mark Hamill, or they could have Luke appear in that movie. I mean, he's still a
Hmm.
Force ghost. I think it's better to leave him out of it. But anyway, I'm gonna give it a fair swing, but I think it's going to be a signpost of like, if they have not, if it fails and they have not made major changes by then, I don't know what we're doing. It's like
Yeah.
they're going to have to do something and say, okay, our first era had its successes and failures, but our whole sequel storyline is kind of, treading water at
Yeah.
best. It's
Yeah.
sinking. We got to do something else, and we got to have new leadership. We got to have. I mean, that's the way I see it. And they won't be able to. Nobody will be able. If it's a bad movie and it fails the box office, nobody's going to be able to really defend it. You know, it's like by saying, "Oh, look at the box office it had." I just, you know, they're going to have to deliver to excite people to go back to the theater to see Star Wars again. I feel like,
Yeah.
and I hope they do.
I do too.
Yeah.
And so just to clarify, I misspoke. Kevin Feige's film is the one that's dead. That's not happening. It's James Mangold whose
Oh, so
film
he is still
who's
going
the
forward.
yeah.
Okay.
His movie's still going
Cool.
forward. It's Feige's film that's not. Yeah.
What did Mangold have come out that I felt like was just a horrible movie though? Oh, well, it wasn't horrible, but
he
he
did the
did
Indiana
the
Jones.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
It was a mixed bag. Yeah. So
anyway, so that's our forecast for 2024. We're hoping for better results. We'll see. Because yeah, it's got to get better. Honestly, in my personal opinion, it's got to get better. They've got to right the ship somehow. Because if it continues to go down the route it's going, I just don't feel like it's going to survive that much longer for very many more years. Yeah, I mean, I hold out hope for the Rey movie, but I really have zero expectations going into it because not only based on my lack of interest in the character, the bad taste that's still in my mouth from Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, and then we've got, and I know we don't, and I'm not getting into politics here, but I just feel like they need to focus on story writing, writing a good story and
what they should have done in the first place.
Put that ahead of identity politics and things like that when you've got, directors that they're hiring and, the first thing you hear about them is, the first words out of their mouth are, "It's about time we had a strong female lead in a Star Wars movie." It's like, wait a minute, what? Okay, welcome to 40 years ago.
And what's ironic is you can have all those things that you want.
Absolutely.
If that's what you want, go for it.
But write a good story.
Start with the story first.
Yeah.
Because what was bad about the problem with this is that it became really clear that the sequel trilogy had no coherent storyline.
None.
And that's the issue. That's the issue. I mean, it was great. I loved having a potential female Jedi in Force Awakens. One of the greatest moments in Star Wars still to me is the end of that film where she goes to Luke Skywalker and offers him the lightsaber, and it's like a moment where she's connecting and I'm seeing a new character who might come into this that I really was gravitating towards. And then to have the story just tank in the other two films where it was clear that they had no overall plan. And when you think about this is the core. Star Wars is the movies. We didn't even have the TV shows yet.
No.
We only had the movies and then the animated series.
Stuff,
we didn't have the live action TV shows yet.
Right.
And to think that they didn't put the effort into being carefully plotting out their trilogy that was going to follow upon the other movies just didn't make sense to me. And so it doesn't give me a lot of hope for any new movie coming out. That's what I'm trying to say. And and like Greedo said, you can have, I don't mind having identity politics in Star Wars. I love the idea of having a female director. I wanted Patty Jenkins to be directing the Rogue Squadron movie. I want those kinds of things. I wanted a female Jedi. I loved the Rey character at first, but none of that is going to work. It's all going to fall flat. It'll all be useless. You won't be bringing the diversity that you want into Star Wars if it's not entertaining, if it's not good writing. So
and let's be honest, they've been bringing female directors along, right? Which you can say is writing a long time wrong, maybe however you want to look at it. The bottom line is Star Wars came from one guy. We can want to go back in history and change his gender. We can't. He was a man who thought up stuff for boys, and the girls, he was lucky enough to have a strong female character and forth thinking enough, or however you want to put it, to put a character like Princess Leia in there to where you could say, for all of Star Wars faults of, not having enough representation or whatever, when they did do it, they did it right. The ones they had in there were terrific.
But you said it's that old thing about it, Star Wars for boys, for little boys. I was involved in Star Wars from the beginning. It wasn't just because of Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia,
No, no,
So it's because
no.
they had wonderful characters,
Right.
regardless of if the smuggler was a male or a female, or if the Jedi was a male. Although it did delight me to have a female Jedi show up in the sequel trilogy.
But
The possibility of that, because we didn't have any speaking
right.
female Jedi in the movies prior to that, and so I was looking forward to that. But
It's more
still,
egregious in the prequels, I think, because then you had a
yeah,
chance to add that stuff in
yeah, and you
properly
didn't have
from the
any.
source. But he was more concerned, as he should have been, I guess, with telling the story he wanted to tell. But I want to say this about the 70s and everything like that. Everyone who saw Star Wars liked it. You had to be a bump on a freaking log to dislike that movie. Everyone liked Rocky. You didn't have to be from Philadelphia to like Rocky. You know what I mean? You didn't have to be Italian to like Rocky. There was movies that just won everyone over. Nobody
Yeah,
said a bad thing about it. They might say, it wasn't for me, but it was pretty darn good. And so the only struggle was, are you nerdy enough to admit you liked it?
Right.
Because people are going to get on you for liking something. They see it as a weakness that you like something that's science fiction or for kids or whatever, even though they liked it themselves. It's just because they're bullies or whatever, and they're going to take that shot at what they see as a weakness in you.
Yep.
So our struggle back then was being strong enough to wear a t-shirt to school, that had Luke Skywalker on it. I had a Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader t-shirt on. I got slapped in the face for wearing it to school.
Yep.
No, it was, when I walked in the bathroom, I got assaulted. No reason. They just didn't like me, because they liked Star Wars, but they used that as an excuse. Like, how dare you express yourself with something we're going to say is nerdy or for kids. So, meanwhile, I was like, 12 or something. So it's like, what? It's cool when you're 11, but not when you're 12. So that was the major struggle. It was a success. I mean, for everyone. And it's like, that's what I don't. People like to go back and rewrite history and say this stuff was controversial, or people didn't like Empire or whatever.
Exactly.
We loved Empire. We saw it a million times.
Yep.
I didn't know a single person who didn't like Empire Strikes Back at the time, except for some reviewers. And we collected the reviews. We saw some of the mediocre reviews. That's their job, They look at it as a movie and all that. They were wrong. They were flat out wrong. It happens. But no, the people loved it. Anyway, I was just trying to say that it wasn't about whether you're boy or girl or target audience or not.
It's good
To
storytelling.
everyone. Yeah, Luke was not just a dude. He was a figure that you associated with. You associated with him, right, Gundark? You
yes,
yourself in Luke,
yeah,
right?
He's my favorite character in all of Star Wars. Always will be.
But Lucas was smart enough. The only mistake he could have made in retrospect is, there's no people of color in there, but they shot it in England. But that, that is what it is. We can't change it now. But you had Han, Luke, and Leia, and everybody saw something of themselves in one of those three characters at least. And the rest of it was just fun. It was fun. And you knew the bad guys and you rooted for the good guys. And when they succeeded, you cheered. And there was no cynicism except Han Solo, and he was just more of a common sense cynic.
Right.
And this is what they need to realize now, is this is where you succeed, is getting people to relate to your characters in your story. End of it. If you need to put whoever,
and plan it out, people. Plan it out, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you go into your ongoing storyline without a plan?
If you find a brilliant actor that's perfect for the part you have in mind, cast them. It doesn't matter what they are or who they are. You're in a galaxy far, far away. It could be Warwick Davis, who won everybody over being an 11-year-old, and obviously, so that's what I don't think these people understand. Is like, there's priorities and there's priorities. And all we want is something we can get behind because it is good and because we enjoy seeing it. It's the same thing with Marvel films. It's the same thing with every adventure film. We want to go have some escapism, but that has a little bit of meaning to our lives that we can take away and we can talk about. And it has characters we can relate to no matter what gender, skin color, race, alien, no matter what they are. And we want to see, and we also want to see cool, innovative stuff. Well, I want to see stuff I haven't seen before. And the Marvel movies, there's so many of them, they begin looking totally just redone.
Oh, the
Yeah.
same.
Oh, yeah.
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 Recycled.
So anyway, I guess we got off on a way tangent.
That's all right.
But I'm
But it
worried.
just shows how,
I'm
the
worried.
worried part. It
I
just shows how
want
we
a
all
savior. I
feel
want a
about
savior
it.
to come in with some ideas on fire. And what I fear is when 2025, whatever comes around, and if this movie fails, the Rey movie fails, what are we going to get next? Probably nothing for a while. And then I almost can guarantee you we get a reboot.
Yeah.
Almost guarantee you we get a reboot of episode 4, or they start with episode 1 and tell a whole new
gosh.
story.
That would be insane.
Yep.
Nobody wants to see that.
No.
Please don't do that. Please do not until long after we are dead.
Yes.
Then do whatever you want. But
Mhm.
but there's no need to see who's Ben Affleck's buddy, playing Han Solo.
Matt Damon?
I don't want to see Matt Damon playing Han Solo. All the same people they
He's
cast
a bit
all
long
the
in
time.
the tooth now, unless
Yeah.
you said it later in the story.
Yeah, exactly.
The history of
I
Star
was
Wars.
thinking of the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. They're going to
Yeah,
cast
Chris
the
Pratt.
same.
Chris Pratt.
They're
Yeah.
going to cast the same people. It's going to be a disaster. And anyway, you can't get lightning in a bottle like that on the same exact idea.
No.
No.
So please give us something new, but someone save us.
Somewhere out there's a savior.
Bro, please pull yourself together, man.
Yeah, pull it together, man.
Filoni,
Get us out of this.
Filoni, watch some YouTube videos about pacing, please. Just start there.
Yeah. All right. That's gonna wrap up our forecast for 2024. Hopefully it's better than what we just talked about. We will be the first ones lining up saying that was great, thumbs up, if they do it well.
Otherwise the forecast is all the Star Wars movies on TNT over and over again.
That's what you gotta end with that, because that contract was renewed. That's something coming up now. We can say for the foreseeable future, we're gonna keep seeing all the Star Wars movies on TNT.
What else do they have?
They renewed their contract.
It's gonna be back-to-back Fast and Furious and Star
But
Wars.
let me say this, because I
read
read an article in the New York Times over the holidays where they talked about how there's a whole new generation of Star Wars fans developed around the TNT showings of the movies, because they would be watching them when they were together with their families, because they tend to show them on a holiday weekend,
Yeah.
and they just running
thinking about that.
24/7. And so they had interviews with a bunch of young people who were raised watching those with their families on the holidays and really got into Star Wars that way. So I'm glad that they were able to renew their contract to do that, because sometimes families just want to put something on that is entertainment that they don't have to worry about, they got a whole family together, that somebody can find something to enjoy in it, and they can leave it going. And that way you get families coming around it, bringing new generations into it. And if they're allowing a network to continue to do that rather than just streaming, I think it has more potential for reaching out to new fans or creating new fans. So I'm glad that contract got renewed.
We don't like to think about it, but it's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
There's almost no reason for movies from the 80s to still have a following like they do. Some of these movies are just better, and when you're watching it on TV, you might have lower expectations, as far as you don't care about the effects being old and stuff as much. That's the main complaint I see from younger people and stuff when they watch some of these movies, is it doesn't measure up to stuff from whatever. We can debate all that, because once you gain a respect for how this stuff was done by the seat of their pants and the geniuses that made these things look as brilliant as they did when nothing like this existed before, that's a whole nother thing, a level of appreciation you gain. But the movies are solid. You can watch Die Hard, even it's a formula, but it's got its own charm. It's got it was good when I saw it in the theater. It's still good today. There's certain movies that are just better. They're just the big blockbuster formula movies. I don't know. Did they care more about them? Did they just some of the stuff was newer instead of being sequels? I don't know. But so this stuff stays alive, I think, in people's real time, because of we take it for granted. And it's sad because they see these boxed in editions, that don't have the full screen, that don't have. They also see the special editions, over and over, which have some very. And that's one last thing I want to say. I know we've been on here forever, but the next thing besides a reboot that I'd love to see is Disney release the original unaltered
yes,
Yeah.
please.
Never gonna happen, but
please.
yeah, but I wish they would. I know Lucas would hate that, and I guess I gotta go with him on that. But I personally would love to see it and clean it up. If you're not going to do that, then give us a special edition of the prequels. Clean up the CGI. Put some money back into them. Re-release them in the theater and see what happens. I just want to see the movies back in the theaters again, no matter what the excuse is. Because I love going to see them in that format and everything, and I think a lot of people do. So yeah, that's one thing I'd like to see is either the originals or clean them up again. Just make some better editing choices like the Jedi rocks. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
Please, for God's sake. And
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, that's our rant for this episode. Multiple rants. And we will see you next time. Thanks for stopping by, liking, subscribing, supporting the channel. We appreciate you. See you next time.
Hi there, this is Mike Quinn, and I played Nien Nunb in the Star Wars movies, and I want to say hi to the Cantina Club. Yeah, may the force be with you.